welcome back to my channel. People on Twitter really seem to love my story times, but you don't give me any hints as to what story you want to hear, so I'm gonna just tell this one. So this is one more. After this, I'm gonna take a break from story times unless this one reaches 100 views. That is double what they are currently getting, so it's on you guys to like, comment, and share this video with at least one other person. So this is the story of my awkward first kiss. So as most of you might be aware, I had a super sheltered childhood. So when it came to dating and boys, we just didn't talk about it. Aside from that one time I asked where babies came from when I was like 6, and I got the real version, and I was just expected to keep thinking that was gross until I got married, I think. So I didn't have the sex talk per se until much later. Continuing, this video gets 100 likes, I will tell you guys my first time doing the do. So I was 15 and a super awkward freshman in high school, and I think that this guy asked a guy friend to ask my best friend if I was into him before he would even ask me out. Like, we were all super awkward. Like, the whole situation was a little awkward. And to be fair, at the time, I really didn't find many people attractive at that time. I just wasn't. So when he did finally ask me out, my answer was sure. And I think we did basic high school couples things, like we walked each other to class, we held hands, we hugged goodbye before entering our separate classrooms, and that was really about it. At the time, I wasn't even allowed to go anywhere with him until I got my own permit, as he was a kid driver. Right, which was plenty at the time. I wasn't really ready for anything else at 15. I remember coming home that day and being super excited that I had a boyfriend. All of my other friends had started dating like in middle school, and some of them even as young as like 4th grade, I think, whatever that counts for. And I always thought I was missing out, so I was extra excited when I got home and just announced that I had a boyfriend. I expected a little bit of hesitancy from my folks and a little bit of teasing from my brothers, but what I got instead was an immediate, I didn't give you permission to do that. I didn't think I needed permission. Like, I am my own person at this point, but okay. Instead of requesting we break up immediately, I was instead given a crash course of rules to follow while dating, which included really dumb things, like I could not hug for longer than 3 seconds, or else it would be considered inappropriate. So no kissing, 3-second hugs, barely holding hands, and no sitting on his lap were some basic rules, aside from, of course, the no sexing. Keep all your clothes on, and the parents have to be in the room at all times. When he visited my house, we had to stay in the living room on 2 different sofas, and my mom had to be in the room with us while we just talked about stuff, which was annoying AF, because then we couldn't even be openly honest with each other. My mom hated him before even meeting him and just decided we could not be trusted together. So if you know anything about rebellious teenagers, I want you to forget about it for a minute. I was a goody two-shoes for most of my life. If nothing else, I lived in fear of my mom, so I refused to do anything for fear that word would get back to her. We lived in a very small town growing up, and my mom basically knew everyone. So for the first year of a relationship, it was all talk. We barely touched. We would hold hands and walk around the block and just talk about things. That was the best way we could keep out of either of our folks' house and have a moment to ourselves, and it very rarely happened. And for the most part, we followed the rules. Fast forward to almost a whole year later. We were walking around the block, just talking. And forgive me, this was like 15 years ago, so I have no clue what we were talking about. But it was a month before my 16th birthday. He said something that triggered maybe this guy really is a super nice guy. And this particular day, he goes to peck my cheek to tell me goodbye, that I pulled him back in and pecked him back on the lips. It was my first awkward kiss. And that was gonna be it, except that it felt like since I've already crossed the line, like I've already broken a rule, might as well break some more rules. That's where the weird makeout session started happening. About a week after that, in one of his kisses goodbye, we went at it a little too hard, and it was so awkward. I don't know that this was his first kiss, for sure. It was mine, and I didn't know how it was supposed to happen, but I had seen movies, and I thought that I knew how well it was supposed to happen. I did not expect him to basically try to eat all of my mouth. So like, he was just opening his mouth as wide as it would go and trying to engulf all of my mouth into his. And like, that ended up sloppy all over the place, BT dubs. But also, just, because then I kept trying to open my mouth wider to get it to be the way that I saw in movies. Like, it's supposed to be more like this, and it was just one mouth engulfing the other mouth. So I kept opening wider trying to get, my mouth is not that big, guys. It just won't. We were stuck in this limbo of like, I know how it's supposed to go based off of movies, and this is not it. And that was before we even added tongue. It was gonna be a whole nother like 6 months or so before we added tongue. So I celebrated my 16th birthday a week after our first kiss, and we went to a Ryan Steakhouse that is in the neighborhood that we used to go to all the time, especially for birthdays. The waitress there knew us, and my mom was so proud of the fact that I was sweet 16 and never been kissed, and I did not have the heart to tell her that that was not true anymore. By sweet 17 that she was still claiming that I had never been kissed, she kind of like looked over at me, and I just shrugged. I did not want to answer her and tell her she was wrong in front of the people that we had there. So she thought that I was still sweet 17 and never been kissed. And things went a little downhill from there. So there is a lot more story time that can happen from this first relationship, but I'm gonna save it all because you guys are gonna give this 100 views and bring up another story time, and you're gonna give this 100 likes so that I can continue talking about this asshole that I dated. If you are young enough to still not have had your first kiss, please do not feel pressured into it by your friends, by the person that you are seeing, by anyone other than yourself. It is your body, it is your choice, and no one else's. Kissing itself will not get you pregnant, but other things will, and I just want you to be safe. Like, please, 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 be knowledgeable, be safe, and don't do it if you don't want to. Alright, that is all for this week. Remember to like this video if you liked it. Comment down below other stories you want to hear from me. Check the description box down below to links to my Facebook, gaming channel, Twitch, and Twitter. And share this video with a friend so we can get 100 views and have another story time. That is all for this week, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.